Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Got a few repots that I'd like to get done, seeing as we are now officially in spring, and I thought I'd pick up the camera and bring you guys along with me. The first one that I do want to look at doing is my Dracaena here that's next to me. And then I've got 3 new alocasia that I have added into my collection that I am going to look to transition into semi-hydro or pon. Before we do get into the video though, if you guys are new here, hi, my name's Amy and this is my jungle. I create content to share my hobby as well as document my houseplant journey. If you do enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a like as well as subscribe to the channel for more planty content. You can also hit the notification bell and that way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. If you're not new here, thank you again for joining me. I really do appreciate having you here. Now, as I say, I have a total of 4 repots that I'm looking at doing, and the first one here is my Dracaena Fragrans Lemon Lime. Again, we'll pop the name on the screen for all of the plants that we're talking about today because I know I usually butcher them when I do say them. This is a plant that's been in my collection for, I want to say, a year and a half, maybe 18 months or so, and has been doing fine, but is in dire need of a repot. I mean, there is just tons of roots in that soil. So this is just going to be a straightforward upsize, and I'm going to start with that one just because then I can get the soil off the roots of all of the alocasia, tidy that up before we then move on to popping them into pon. This one here, the substrate it's currently in is the Soil Ninja Ficus mix, I believe. And because I haven't been able to get an order in to be able to purchase that same mix, I am going to be moving it into the Grow Tropicals standard jungle mix and just keep an eye on it to see how it does with the transition into that new soil. But yeah, I will jump in with this one and then I'll talk you through the 3 alocasia that I have added to my collection. So like I said, with the Dracaena, this is just going to be a straight upsize. So we're going to be moving from, I think this is a 12 centimetre pot up to a 13 centimetre pot, just to give it a little bit more breathing room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave this to one side, open up my substrate, and then I'm going to add a small amount in here just to get us started. So this is the first time I have used the Grow Tropicals jungle mix. It's not too dissimilar to what the Dracaena is in at the moment. So yeah, let's see how this goes. So I'm just going to take the little tag out, and I always like to lift these out over the top just in case that happens. So I am going to just take a little bit of this out. And just going to put it a bit more secure in there, and then I'm just going to backfill around it. Don't need to break the roots up because, like I say, it is literally just going from one pot into the other, and then I will look to water in. This is one that I have also noticed has been a little bit on the wobbly side within the pot, so I'm quite excited to have it stable, shall we say. Let's remove that. Waste not, want not on the soil, so I'm just picking up what did fall out. Put it in there. And then more of the Grow Tropical mix. All the way down the sides, just giving the pot a little bit of a tap. holding stable. And I do have a cover pot for this one to go in, but at the moment the one of the alocasias is sitting in it. So once it's been watered through, I say we'll move it over into its new cover pot. But I think and that is that one done. I'll just add the label back in, and then I'm going to pop this one through into the bathroom to give us a little bit of space to bring the alocasia through. So the next plants that we are going to be working with are the 3 new alocasia that I have purchased and added into my collection. 2 of them are completely new. I have never owned these before, and this is the first time trying them. And one is a plant that I have tried to add to my collection, I think on 3 different occasions, and each time it has ended badly. So the 2 new plants are the Alocasia Jacqueline. We also then have the Alocasia Antoro Velvet. So this one has got really soft, fluffy leaves as you touch it. And yeah, I mean, I've looked up photos of this one and it looks stunning. And the last one, like I say, is one I have tried a few times, and call me a glutton for punishment, but I love the Alocasia Mitchellitziana, and I really, 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 really want it to do well in my collection. I did have someone come back to me on a question I asked on my Instagram stories about the best way to transition this Alocasia, because it has been the most fussiest of alocasias to transition to semi-hydro. I tried popping it straight into pon, it croaked. I tried popping it in water first, left all of the soil roots on, it croaked. Then the 3rd time I decided to cut off all the roots and pop it in water to let it have a chance to produce water roots before moving it into pon. It died. So I have been informed that one thing I can try is removing all the soil, adding it into semi-hydro, but without a reservoir. So I think that might be where I went wrong the first time I tried to just pop this straight into semi-hydro. I left it with a reservoir and it did just rot. So this time round, I am going to take off all of the soil from all 3 of these plants, give their roots a wash off just to make sure there is no substrate on there that can potentially then contaminate and rot in the pond. Transition them into their self-watering pots, water them through, let them drain, and then stand them in the cover pot with no reservoir. Keep an eye on them, water them when I notice that they are getting dry. So I think someone said every sort of like between 3 to 5 days to then water them through again, not leaving them with a reservoir. So taking them out, watering as though I'm watering my standard soil plants, and popping it back and see what happens. Now I do know that there is probably going to be some leaf dieback. There always is when you first transition alocasia, either from one substrate to another. So like I am, soil to pon, or even sometimes when you just repot them and upsize their pots. So yeah, wish me luck on this one. I really, 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 fingers crossed, hope 4th time's a charm. But I guess we will find out. What I am going to do though first is I'm going to start with the Alocasia Jacqueline. I'm going to leave this one till last, and I will do a little bit of corm hunting as well, just in case there is anything in here. It's quite a mature plant. And we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through what my process is for this. So I'm I'm going to be taking the soil off of the plants here. I've got a little bowl of water just so that I can then rinse the roots. And then I've got my self-watering pots. So for the smaller ones, which are in the 6cm pots, I have got 7cm self-watering pots here. So they have a little cotton wick that's just in the bottom that sits within the reservoir and then soaks up here. So these I have just tied a little knot in so that they don't go the whole way through. And I've got 2 of those, one for the Jacqueline and one for the Anturo Velvet. And I am also trying a new self-watering pot. So again, it's got the insert that comes out, the cotton wicks to take the water up. Like I say, I haven't used these ones before. The others are the same style that I've already got. But I figured, why not? Let's see what ones we've got. I like the fact that it's still got the clear indicator so I can check the level of the reservoir. And yeah, we'll see how we get on with that one. But like I say, I'm going to start with my Alocasia Jacqueline. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a squeeze to loosen it up. Okay, so it has got some nice roots on there. And I'm just going to use my fingers to break apart as much of this as we can. For this one, I don't expect, as it is a baby plant, there to be any corms, but I will keep an eye out just in case. It's got quite a nice root system, so that is a bonus. Like I say, I'm just going to get off as much as I can with my hands, and then we'll see if we can get off any more with the water. So normally what I would do is I would take this to the sink and, you know, hose it down. And then I've watched a few videos, and actually doing this makes so much more sense. Again, just doing this, try and get off as much. This is lukewarm water, not cold, just so I don't shock the plant any more than I am going to be. Oh, there is a little, I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, there is actually tiny corm just on that root there. So yeah, like I say, I'm just going to try and get off as much of the soil from these roots as possible, so we've got a clean base to work with. Now I've heard that the Alocasia Jacquelines are magnets for spider mites, so this has obviously been sprayed down and quarantined. I haven't seen any on it, but I am watching it like a hawk because I am about done with pests already, and we're not even that far into spring, so I know there is a likelihood it is probably going to get worse. Right, so I think maybe one little zhoosh. Okay, so that is what we're working with here with this root system. So that as clean as we can. So you want to be careful with the roots, but it doesn't necessarily matter too much if you do have some root loss. Okay, so just going to stand this one in the pot that it's going to go into. So what I'm probably going to do is the Jacqueline and the Antoro Velvet first, then we'll move on to the Alocasia Mitchellitziana. Okay, so again, just gonna give it a squeeze. Oh wow, look at the roots on that one. Normally I would wait until this leaf has come out, but I'm at that point where I'm like, you know what, I'll just rather do it now, get it done. If the leaf comes in a little bit wonky, it comes a little bit wonky. I know what I'm signing up for by doing it. I have also let these dry out a little bit just to make removal of the soil somewhat easier. This one again, give it a little zhoosh. Do you guys sort of have a preference as to how you grow, what substrate you grow in? Not necessarily your alocasia, but the plants in your collection in general. I know a lot of people are tending to sway more towards growing in pon or leca, just for sort of this less maintenance in terms of having to water each week and things like that. I mean, the vast majority of my plants are still in soil, but moving them into a semi-hydro way of growing is something that I have been considering. As I say, the plants in my collection that are a bit more high maintenance in terms of water have already been moved, so like my Alocasia and Calathea and Maranta, but you know, I don't know, I'm just very unsure and hesitant about moving everything over. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have got a preferred way of growing your plants. It'd be great to hear some of your experiences and, you know, why you have chosen a particular substrate over others. As I say, while I've been collecting plants since, well, I think for the past 5 years, I would class myself as still quite a inexperienced houseplant grower. So any advice that you guys have got would really appreciate. Okay, so again, this is what we're working with here with the Antoro Velvet roots, and I'm just going to pop this one in here. Okay, so I am going to now empty out the water so I can put some fresh ones in for the Alocasia Mitchellitziana. But first off, we're going to backfill these guys and then water them through. And then, yeah, we'll jump on with the last plant. This here is washed clean pon or Soil Ninja's fine semi-hydro mix. And I am just going to take our 2 little plants here and look to backfill. So first thing I'm going to do is just add a little layer just in the bottom, so it's got something to rest on, and then I'm going to situate the plant here. So I just want to check to make sure the bit that I want at the front is at the front. So I think I want you facing that way. Okay, so that's the way that we're going to have it. And then holding it here, it's so much easier when it is a smaller plant to be able to do this. I'm just going to start adding in my semi-hydro. Sometimes when I do this, I do feel like I'm all fingers and thumbs. that trying to hold and pour and not drop, because that's happened on a few occasions where I've been repotting and just lost my grip, and the plant and substrate has gone absolutely everywhere, and then that's meant just so much more cleaning up than I was anticipating when I started the repots. So because this is quite a like solid mix, I don't want to push down to pack it in, so I'm just gonna little taps to help maneuver the semi-hydro in and around the gaps of the roots. I feel like just a bit more. That should be enough for the Alocasia Jacqueline, and then I just have, again, little name tag that I like to put in all of my plants. Go in at the back. So that is that one done. Like I say, I will be giving it a bit of a water through in a moment, but we'll just do the same for the Antoro Velvet. Once again, making sure we're happy with what is going to be the front of the pot. Thinking this way. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be the front. So again, same as what we've just done with the Jacqueline. Take a little scoop just to go at the bottom. And we're going to stand this way, and again I'm just going to backfill. And that is the Antoro Velvet. So I'm just going to pop that one in its pot and pop in this little name tag. Okay. Right, there we have it. So that is 2 down and 1 to go. So I'm just going to leave those 2 to the side and run this out of the way. And we will now move on to the Alocasia Mitchellsiana. Okay, so remove that and start by removing the soil from the roots. Now this one has got, and when I checked, a very beautiful root system. I'd say this is one that I'm really hoping that this time it works. Oh, it's got a little netting on it, so we'll get that off as well. I am going to remove this leaf because it looks like it's trying to leave anyway. And again, like I say, with this one, I'm going to just check to see if there's any corms, because you never know. Now, when I had my Alocasia poly, I was really good at propagating the corms. I'd just stick them in water and they would sprout and they would be amazing. I did get corms on one of my Mitchellsianas when I repotted it. Again, they all just rotted, so I don't know whether or not if I do find any, putting them in shallow puddle method is the best way, or if I perhaps look to do them in semi-hydro or moss. As it's been a while since I have actually propagated alocasia corms, so any tips that you guys have got, would love to hear them down in the comments, because like I say, I really want this plant and I really want this plant to do well, better than the rest that I've tried, because I've tried, guys, many times, and each time when I've then noticed it rotting or gone to check it and I'm like, ooh, doesn't look great, I've then been very sad, because it's such a stunning plant. I mean, look at the leaves on it. What more could you want? So this one has got some netting around the roots. I'm going to have to try and get that off as well without damaging anything. It's got quite nice roots on this one, like really healthy white roots. I have on one of them, the reason that I did choose to put it in semi-hydro and cut the roots off was because there was a teeny tiny bit of rot in the roots, and so I was like, okay, we're going to get rid of that. And in the end I was like, oh, do you know what, I've seen people do it where they've just taken everything off, so let's give that a go. So now for the fiddly bit of getting this off without destroying any roots that are in here. This is clearly like a plug plant, but at least with the mesh, it's one of those that you can sort of just pull it apart. So if you've got a root that's stuck, like growing through it, you can normally just, if you can get a hold, rip it down and away from the roots instead of having to try and force them through, which is quite handy. Right, so I think nearly got it off. So in terms of corms, most of them are still attached to the base of the plant. I don't know if you can see the few that are there. I don't think any have actually come off or been within the soil that I have taken off the roots. Okay, so inside. And this is what I mean, where this root has grown through it, I can just rip it apart and get it off. Okay, so I think that is it. Nice. I haven't seen any corms in here, so, and that's fine. Cool. Right, so I'm just going to bring my water over, so similar to like what we've done with the others. I've just got some fresh water and I'm just going to give the roots a slosh just to get off as much of this remaining soil as we can, because I want to give this one the best means of success. Yeah, if this doesn't work, how have you guys managed to successfully transition the Mitchellitziana? Is it just, am I not supposed to have this plant? So I suppose until we've given it a chance to acclimatise, we won't know. And again, like I say, I know there is going to be, it's going to kill off some leaves. I know it's going to take a bit of time to get used to its new environment. But like I say, I just really want this plant to do well. And I'm not very good with alocasia in soil. I'm a chronic underwaterer because I do worry about overwatering and killing my plants that way. So things like alocasia that probably like to be slightly more moist don't generally tend to do well in my care. And it just upsets me that this one has been so difficult to transition when my other alocasia have literally just, like, I've been able to either put them in water and then move them, or just stick them straight in pond. And they've just gone, oh my god, oh yeah, this is fine actually, we can cope, and been amazing. So yeah, really have everything crossed that this time this is going to work. And yeah, okay, so I'm just trying to get as much out of here as I can without pulling off any of these nice roots. Okay, so I think that is as clean as I'm going to get them. So now this is going to stand in this pot. This is where it is going to be living. So this one came in a pack of 3, and we had a green insert, and then I believe it was like a terracotta-y orange and a brown. And I thought the green would go quite well with the Frydek, considering its green velvety leaves. Let me know if you would have gone for green or if you would have picked a different colour. So each to their own, but green is my favourite colour, so that's why we went with that one. Right, so now we are going to backfill, and then we'll take these guys through into the bathroom and give them a water through. Yeah, I think that way is going to be the best way. Again, I'm going to add some first. Get all those roots in, make sure it's facing the way I want. So this is going to be the front, the way that's facing you. And then I am just going to backfill. So this brand is not one that I have used before in terms of the self-watering pots, but I will link them down below because they're quite a nice design, nice and easy to put together. They only came in one size though, that was the only thing. So if you wanted anything smaller, you kind of had to shop around. These only did the, I want to say they're 12.5 centimetres, which works what I want it for this one, but let's say if I wanted to use this style of pot, let's say I quite like the fact it has got, there we go, that is her all potted up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take these guys through into the bathroom, we're going to water them through, let them thoroughly drain, and then we're going to pop them back in their cover pots without a reservoir. So they're going to remain empty, there's going to be no water in this bottom bit, for the initial few weeks, I think it was, they said, and then we'll gradually add a reservoir over the coming weeks. But yeah, quite pleased with how these guys are looking at the moment. So it is a couple of days later. I put the camera down, had my dinner, and completely forgot about coming back on to film an outro. But I guess that means I can give you a little bit of an update on how they've been doing so far, being transferred into pond without a reservoir. I'll just flip the camera and we'll have a look at them. So the Alocasia Jacqueline, like I say, they still don't have a reservoir, but has been doing quite well. They are due to be watered through again today. And I feel like this one and the Antoro Velvet are ones that I could probably leave a small reservoir in. The day after, these two had sort of fainted, so I did give them a bit of a water, and then they perked right back up, and they've stayed up since then. The Mitchellitziana, again, doing way better than it normally is when I have tried to transition it. We've got one little leaf there that I think is either on its way out or it's just waiting for a bit of water. But again, has been doing quite well. This one I'm not going to give a reservoir to just yet. I think I'm going to give it a couple more sort of water throughs and then go from there. So I'm really pleased with how they're doing at the moment, and I've got my fingers crossed for the Mitchellitziana that it does do well. But that is it for the video. If you guys did enjoy the content, please don't forget to give the video a like, as well as subscribe to the channel for more planty content. Leave a comment down below if there's any other things you'd like me to talk about or see in the future, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hope you all have a lovely weekend. Bye.